to the good stuff. What is the good stuff? The good stuff is answering the greatest question of our time. And I will say we have to get this question right. The question is, why the heck is Donald Trump our president? How did that happen? If you turn on the cable news broadcasts, you might get a cocktail of answers, some mixture of Russia, racism, Facebook, FBI, Hillary Clinton. But the numbers tell a different story, and I'm a numbers guy. The numbers tell a very clear and distinct story that the reason why Donald Trump's our president today is that we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs in Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri, and Iowa, all the swing states that Donald Trump needed to win.
Hey, you all, welcome back to the channel, and I hope you all are having a great weekend. So, I want to talk to you all about Andrew Yang's recent speech at the DNC summer meetup. Want to talk about a new branded term, the tech check. that I think is an excellent new way of branding universal basic income. And I just want to talk about the great advancements and evolution Andrew Yang has went through with delivering this message. Just listening to part of that, we've heard that a million times. And what I learned about repeating the same exact words over and over again, at one glance you would think that it's not effective, but it's actually very effective when you say the same exact line of words the same way, almost like you're on a script, right? Scripts are very effective in a way. And so it's not that Andrew needs to use this, but it's just so much more effective, because sometimes when people just kind of get out there speaking and they kind of speak on a dime, you think you sound good, but actually you don't always sound good and you get off the message. So that's why it's good to sometimes drive home these very important points and do it repeatedly. And so Andrew's just getting better and better at this. His presence at the DNC was a great one. And you can see the DNC is now recognizing Andrew Yang as a serious contender, and also looking at him as somebody that kind of meets that phenomenon versus phenomenon a category. Because the reality is the other candidates that are in the race, whether it be Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, there's nothing phenomenal about them, right? It's nothing phenomenal about them. It's pretty much the same old story with them. And we know that someone like Donald Trump, who kind of came in exciting, came in like a maverick, outside of the box. When you get forces like that, another equal opposite force is going to have to defeat that in many cases. And I think the DNC is in a situation like this where they're going to have to recognize that. Also quite interesting about the DNC is many of us over the years have had many horror stories, heard many horror stories about them, have many theories about them that are not good for candidates. And some of which is the link that the DNC may be willing to go to get certain candidates as their candidate for president. And so a similar thing kind of happened with Donald Trump too, where a lot of people thought that there would be some type of interference to keep him from being president, and that the system would be rigged. And interesting enough, Donald Trump still won. So are we kind of looking at a similar thing with the DNC? Is it going to be that the DNC is not really the devil and not as evil as we thought, and that where they're going to be quite fair in how they deal with Andrew Yang? Maybe so. Maybe that will be the case, because I've heard a lot of people in the comments section who watch the videos, I've heard it come up, that scary line you get where they go, well, he's a good candidate and he could possibly win, but only if the DNC would be fair and allow it. So is it going to play out different than what some of us might think in that case? We will see, but so far so good. Looks pretty darn good there. Also just want to talk about the branding of the idea of the tech check. I like it. It's ringy. It has a ring to it. Now, this is something that apparently has been going on in Alaska with the oil money, right? The oil check, the Alaskan dividend, and so now we have the tech check, uh, dividend that comes from the value of our resources in technology and data. And I think that drives home a much stronger message. The idea of a society getting a dividend is not new. Throughout the course of history, wealthy, accomplished countries, advanced countries, um, as far as their infrastructure and technology, have oftentimes rewarded their citizens, have paid for their weddings, have provided land for them, have done a variety of things that hasn't been categorized as some type of handout or welfare. So I think it's important that we kind of get away from that idea once again that this is some type of handout, and I don't think it should be looked at like that. I think it should be looked at as we were all being contributed to the success of this country in some way, and it's a very rich country. You know, America is a lot wealthier than we're led to believe. And if you just look around the world and look at conditions and understand that there are people who only, I was talking with somebody the other day who was telling me that they only have electricity for about 8 hours a day in their country. Really bad internet service and hardly any at all in some cases. And so there are just a lot of things that make America quite wealthy in terms in relation to many other countries. And that's really how you can gauge wealth and poverty. It's always going to be compared to something else. And that's why we have ideas like absolute poverty and relative poverty. The majority of the idea of poverty and losing money and losing value that we are attached to is a type of relative poverty, right? It is just in comparison to something else. And America, in comparison to other countries, is far beyond many other countries in that regard. So the tech check, I like it, but the DNC applauded at the end. I'm looking at this group. I'm hoping that what we saw as far as their body language, they did seem to see that the crowd loves Andrew's message. I think they are recognizing that, hey, you know, these candidates we have up here, they can't beat Donald Trump. They all have a great closet full of things that Donald Trump can expose. They just have this terrible things that Donald Trump could go after and be quite effective on. Pete Buttigieg, you can talk about how things got handled in South Bend with the police department. Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas. Joe Biden, he's going to go back to everything wrong in the Obama administration. Kamala Harris, her prosecution record. And it goes on and on. Cory Booker and what happened when he was mayor of New Jersey. It can just, you know, that's the problem with a career politician, right? They have a long line and a long sheet of things we can take apart. But Andrew Yang kind of just storming up in a situation like Donald Trump doesn't really have a history as a businessman who's come up with a way to solve what has become a big economic crisis and issue in the United States, and one coming forward with this fourth industrial revolution. So that's where we're at with that. But I thought Andrew did a great job. He's just getting better and better, isn't he? And Andrew Yang is a serious presidential candidate. And I think they're going to have to come to terms with that. And the DNC is going to have to, if they consider this taking a risk, it's time they're going to have to do that. Because Donald Trump, although pretty much spiraling out of control right now, a lot of these candidates they're going to put against him, I think, are still going to have a hard time beating him. And so I think Andrew Yang is going to offer just that fresh new alternative, that common sense approach, that I'm on the left, I'm on the right, I'm in the center, but I can relate to Andrew Yang, you know, offer all of those things, and them coming to terms with that, I think makes a great situation for Andrew Yang and makes it very, very possible they nominate him. Now, also want to just say that Andrew Yang has spoke out about eliminating the Electoral College, and it's probably one of the only things Andrew has said that I've been a bit in disagreement with and a bit confused with. And I understand the entire story about the Electoral College, and I agree with it to to a great degree. I agree with it, but I think in particular in Andrew Yang's type of campaign, I do think that the popular vote will serve him better. Now, in putting all that out there, it is also important to note that many states are going to go on the popular vote, right? And we know Donald Trump does bad with the popular vote. He won't win on the popular vote. He needs the Electoral College. So, in a situation like universal basic income, the freedom dividend, the tech check, it is more unlikely that someone like Andrew Yang would win on the popular vote because the majority of the country is going to be represented by Andrew Yang. And because of that, he would win. But now getting back to the states who are going to honor the popular vote, the delegates are going to honor the popular vote, meaning you're still going to win by the popular vote. And states, more and more states are coming on board. They're not only is it going to be bad for Trump, for the particular type of policies Andrew Yang has, I think it's going to be very good for him. So that's where we're at with that. Was very impressed with the speech with the DNC here. Would love to hear you guys' thoughts and comments on it. Real quick, want to just plug our project, BitcoinMYK.com. This is our version of universal basic income, and it is real money. This is not monopoly money. This is not play money. And this is money that you don't have to do anything to get but join our website. And you start receiving it every month. Now, the amount varies. It can be very little to nothing to maybe one day a lot. But it is absolutely free. It is also great for our listeners who aren't in the United States, who like the idea of universal basic income, but because they're not a U.S. citizen, they won't be able to participate with us to that degree. However, they can join this program. We can all join our program here, Bitcoin MYK, and start earning this money. You can do something with. You can go buy bread with. You can go buy, hopefully one day, meet your basic needs in their entirety. So we're working on that. Going to see how it goes. Very excited about the project. Would love for you all to join. But that's all I want to say in this video. If you all like content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, take care.